head over to Restream. Make sure it's working. Okay. Who's ready to FAFO with me? All right. Hello, friends. Who's ready to FAFO? Indeed. Let me finish setting up. I need to go to my events. Actually, start the event. So we're talking pipeline production today. Pipeline from an idea all the way to deploying it to Decentraland. Quite a few steps. We're going to go over those. Let's close this too. Okay. So in the builder, if you go to builder.decentraland.org, you can set up a parcel. Like anybody can come in here and start setting things up. It's a deprecated tool, which means it's not going to be supported anymore because the development resources are being focused on Software Development Kit number 7, SDK 7. But the replacement tool, DCL Edit, is still in, I think it's currently in beta. It was in alpha. And Visual Studio Code, there's plugins. Get my chair in the right place. You want to start up Visual Studio Code. That you can have the SDK 6 plugin, the SDK 7 plugin, use both. The documentation on the Decentraland.org website, docs.decentraland.org, it's needs to be updated. It's not super helpful, so this is not for the faint of heart. If you're thinking about creating something in Blender, if you've got an idea and you want to build it in Blender and then deploy it into Decentraland, you don't have to have a land parcel. You do have to have at least a DCL.eth name, and you can get that in the Decentraland marketplace. If I go back here, and here I am, decentraland.org. Instead of builder, click on marketplace, and let's just go to overview. Oh shit, I should have just gone to names. It was right up there. Oh, look at that. That's a nice looking little suit. Anyway, you know, my distracted brain. This is, oh my gosh. This is like the default grid texture for Blender. Like if you're trying to make sure that you've got your texture on there properly. I mean, quite a few people have already bought this. I mean, the price is right. It's 1.9 mana. I'm probably going to buy this right now. I've got 2.56 mana, so I can definitely get this. So, shiny object. Whee! Okay. So let me make this purchase. I'm always on the lookout for something that's like a bargain, that's well made. Seems to be moving okay. Let's switch to Polygon because gas fees. I have to pay the mana gas 7 cents. You know, I can't really complain because if I were to buy this through, I don't know, through Roblox or Fortnite or whatever, they hide a lot of that transactional ugliness in the background, hidden fees, so to speak. through abstraction layers, and the more a financial transaction is abstracted, the less you care about it. So if it seems super easy to do a financial transaction, be a little suspect, because there's probably abstraction going on, so they can charge you more. Anyway, 7 cents, not a big deal to buy something that's probably $1. But I usually grab stuff like this. And here's the Shino Bros suit, also for 1 mana. I got this rainbow suit. That's from Pride last year. They gave those away free, but every now and then somebody comes up and sells those. So anyway, it's whatever. I've got the Giving Tree. I'm trying to get it up to 2,000 items. I'd like to have like 600 unique items. Currently, there's like 560 unique items. So those are emotes and wearables, mostly wearables. I think there's only like 30 or 40 different kinds of emotes. Yeah. So if you're gonna deploy something that you build in Blender or any number of different packages, there's a few different packages. Let's see. Let me just open this up. Yeah, so Sketchfab, Clara.io, Archive3D. If you don't want to build anything, this is why I brought this up. You can just go and grab stuff from here and toss it in there. Make sure that you have the IP rights to do so. Anyway, here we are at the docs section of Decentraland. You're going to need to become familiar with this if you're going to deploy. But back to the marketplace. I want to go. Why don't I see? Okay, switch to Ethereum. Fine. I made my purchase on Matic on Polygon, so I need to switch back to Ethereum. Doing that. Super simple. Now, I want to. Where was that land? Where was the menu that popped up that could show me? Well, anyway, here I am at the names. It took me a little extra to get here, but yeah, if you want to claim your own name, you just go here, claim your own name, and it costs 100 mana. What is 100 mana right now? If I could spell mana price in USD. Okay, 53 cents. So it's going to cost you, with gas is a little bit higher, it's probably going to cost you $55-60 roughly to get your own name. These are names that other people have purchased and they don't really want to do anything. Oh, look at that. Mana. The name Mana is on sale for 71,000 mana. So, quick back of the envelope, that's going to be about 36 grand will set you back if you want that. But yeah, you don't need to get any of these. You don't have to buy these. You can claim your own name. So if you come here, click on claim your name. We'll just go through the beginning portion of the process. And then you type in a name here. So let's say you're Empress Rayon and you want to get the name Donkey. So click mana approved. This isn't gonna work. Custom spending cap. What is that? Only enter a number that you're comfortable with. Third party spending now or in the future. You can always increase or decrease the cap later. Fine. We'll say $100. that 100 mana? I'll just use, what the fuck? This is different. I don't remember having to do this. I know they made some changes, so this is a huge ass number. What the hell? Verify third party requesting spending cap. Copy to clipboard. Let's go. Polygon. Okay. So we're just going to search this address. Of course, didn't copy to the clipboard. View, third-party details. Here, we'll just open in Block Explorer. God, that's so much easier. Private name tags, contractor. 10 hours, 26 minutes ago. So these are, oh, okay. Well, Souse uses it. Souse just published, I don't know, a collection of like 20 different, here's more. Those are the same. Oh, Peanut Butter, Old Guy, Jason X. Okay, so, I mean, normally I would take longer. I would spend more time verifying that, but for right now, let's just say, I don't know, we'll say 100. Next. Okay, it's 100 mana. All right, great. Yeah, so that's my gas estimate is $9.59. So it's gonna cost me whatever, $53. So basically $63. Okay. Insufficient funds for gas. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. We'll go back here. So what I'm doing is there's a smart contract here, and I'm authorizing this smart contract to operate on my behalf. I've done that before. I haven't gone through that whole other thing. I've had the mana here ready to go. And, oh, here's an important thing. This is Ethereum mana right here. These different symbols. So the one that's the diamond with the dot in the middle, that's Polygon. That's on the Matic network, the Polygon network. That's the level 2. The one over here, that's Ethereum mana, and that's what you need to use to buy your name. So I've got 0.76 and I need 100. Anyway, you would click this, approve it. I don't remember this spending cap thing, but whatever. That's, I guess, just a new thing. Then you would click next, accept, and you would type in the name to see if it's even available. Like, I don't know, does it? Yeah, it'd be nice if it searched it for you as you typed it in. But whatever. When you do that, you click the claim. It says I don't have enough, but you'd click it, and then I think that's when it does the search to say this name is available or this name isn't available. Yeah, okay. My levels are still good. Okay. And then you would purchase it, and then you would get your name. So what that gets you, a name, not only does it give you, here, I'll just go here, go to my account, and instead of it saying odd job, hash symbol, 2488, 8A or whatever the last 4 characters are on my wallet address. It just says odd job. And I can change my alias anytime I want. I do that here. But it's nice. It's nice to have a name without the little hash symbol. In addition, you can deploy to land. So say you spent the $60 and you've got your name, and you can come to the builder again. And there it is. See, why wasn't that coming up earlier? I don't understand. If you want, you can also buy land here. I recommend buying it through Decentraland if you're going to buy it through all of its secondary marketplace. But if you buy it through something like OpenSea, you just need to be very careful. Here we go. So go back to Builder, go to Scenes instead of Names. This is what I was looking for earlier. Go to Builder, go to Names. That'll take you right here. But here, go to Scenes. And again, until there's like an easier integrated tool, we're going to use this one. Yeah, so these are just test cases. But if you want to create your own, just click the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner here. Give it a name. So we'll just call this one FAFO number 29. And this is our description is we're doing our production pipeline. DCL build production pipeline. Okay. Specify the size of your estate or parcel. Anything that's like this size, 2 or more, is called an estate. And just one of them is called a parcel. A parcel is 16 meters by 16 meters if you want to get it to scale. And I think the average avatar, well, not average, all the avatars are the same height unless you've got like a top head that makes you taller. I think they're like 1.5 meters tall. All right, so say you want to make a sci-fi thing, you can just search in here and, I don't know, type house. And we'll just put a geodesic dome on here. So here's our build. I spent a lot of time on it. I hope you love it. But there's all kinds of other things in here. This is part of what's called the Awesome Repository. And these are things that are built and ready to go. Shovel ready. So when you're finished with that, you just download the scene. Okay. Where are we going to put it? Let's put it in a place that makes sense. So I'm going to make a directory in my main 3D directory here, and I'm going to call this FAFO. Okay. And this is FAFO 29, because that's the episode that we're on. Click Save. And it's done. So what it's put in there is a whole bunch of code and access to links to these assets. What are these assets? Well, you can see under here a little bit, there's a grid. On top of that, there's some grass. That's an actual plane with a texture on it. So the plane and the texture, that's a GLB packaged up and put in a folder. And then this geodesic dome is also packaged and put in there. So let's go to Visual Studio Code and let's open a folder. Remember, go to 3D, go to FAFO. There's the file, but I need to unpack it. So I'm going to do that here. Double click on it, click extract, and yep, I want it to be in the FAFO folder, so we'll click extract. Don't need to show the files because I already can see them. I'll click close and close. Okay, so here are our files. The ones that we're going to be most concerned with are the scene.json, and if we go into the src or source directory, the game.ts file. If we look at this with the big long string, the gobbledygook or whatever, it's just a random unique identifier generator, and it does that because that's the way they do it. But if you look in here, oh look, there's the grass. There's the GLB for the grass. Here's the texture for the grass, and here's the thumbnail for the texture for the grass. Go back up a couple levels, click in here. Here's the geodesic dome. There's the thumbnail for the dome, and here are the textures, and here's the GLB. Okay. So now that we've got that open, back at Visual Studio Code here, I'm going to open this folder because remember I did that. There wasn't anything in there because I hadn't extracted the zip file yet. So now I'm going to open this. Okay. I want to click on my scene.json file. Boom. Okay. And I'm also going to go into my source and my game.ts file. And we're just going to take a look at this here for a little bit to talk about the structure of these files. So TS is TypeScript and JSON is just another, they're both programming languages. So that file extension, the dot whatever at the end is how you tell them apart. This little 1 number here tells us that there's a little thing wrong. So I'm just going to come up here. I clicked terminal and then open a new terminal. That'll show my problems, output, debug, console, and terminal. Just brings this whole thing up here. I can move this up and down. That's my shell here, just my command line interface. If I look at the problems, this cannot read file. Oh, okay. Yep. I don't have, there's a specific thing that I'm looking for here that I do not have, and this is an important step that you need to take. So you need to have a node modules directory. That's what it's looking for, and it says it can't read it. Well, how do we get that, you might ask? Oh, Jeff, how do we get that? So I'm going to come here to my SDK6. Okay, again, SDK7 still in beta, so we're going to use SDK6. There's more documentation for SDK6, and again, we're in transition period. So I'm going to click Run Scene. You can preview and try out your scene right here. Oh, there's something else that I needed to do. I probably should be following along, reading the documentation. I'll be really surprised if this does this because that means it put in the node modules. Oh, yeah, there it is. There's my scene. Okay, that was pretty simple. Kudos to the development team. Do we have colliders here? Yes, we do, because in Decentraland, we are all part mountain goats. And we like to climb up on things.
Bah.
Hey, who is that? Who's here?
Hi.
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Bonjour, hi, comment ça va? I've just been listening.
Hold on, Brandon. I think I have you turned down really low. No?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, that's better. Holy shit.
My bad.
No worries. Yeah, so I'm just going through the production pipeline. having just gone through this, I think it's helpful to revisit it while everything's fresh in my memory. So I'm going
It's
from
updating too, so that's good.
What's that?
It's always updating too, so that's good.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's a little different than even when I did it a couple months ago in January. So, anywho, so let's go back to our folder here. Remember, we did an open folder, and I'm talking to nobody. I guess anybody who's watching this in the future, and I'm also talking to you. But we did not have the node underscore modules directory. But as soon as we went here to SDK6 and we clicked run scene, it updated that. Now, there's ways to do that through the command line interface, but we're not going to cover that at this particular point. A couple things that we can do once we're here. If you click on the SDK6 button, and you're there because it'll say run scene, publish scene. I wish they had different icons here because these look exactly the same. There's a tiny little 6 here and there's a tiny little 7 here, but you have to hover over with your mouse to see the difference. Like, all they need to do is make this one have a square around it and have this one just be a circle, and you could tell the difference, but fuck it, whatever. Nobody asked me, so fuck it. Okay, so I don't want my tsconfig.json file. I'm going to take this and I'm actually going to open this up in my browser. It's kind of nice and handy to have it here, but I would much rather have it just be in a separate browser. So while that loads, we'll go back to Visual Studio Code and we'll go back in here to File Explorer. Right, Explorer up here. Here are my files. I'm going to go to game.ts. I'm going to open that. I'm just going to close this tab that had my browser in there. So if I was smart and I had pointed it out earlier, in both the game.ts and the scene.json file, there were a few squiggly little lines. Why doesn't it keep those both open? Why doesn't it tab? Interesting. Okay. Well, under things like transform, just these different commands here in the code, there were red squiggly lines, and that was linked here to our problem, which was couldn't find the node underscore modules, and that's where it defines all of these commands like gltf shape and whatever. Don't worry about this particular error message, and don't worry about compiling something new so that it can just ignore the deprecation. Just ignore this particular message right here, because that's why I went to there. Okay. So go back to game.ts, because this is what we want to look at. Here is the grass, right? The GLB. And here is what it's calling a dome house, in which the asset is actually called a greenhouse. I'm going to go back to my browser. Here is our greenhouse. And what this is, I'm going to just point this out up here. It says localhost and then :42679 blah, blah, blah. Okay, that just means that it's running on my machine. Here's the secret. When you go to Decentraland and you're hanging out in Decentraland, you're actually hanging out just on your computer, and you're running a local client from the server. And that's part of the reason why when you see people maybe like going up the stairs, they start here and then they just kind of float up to the top, because there's a limited amount of information that's being sent back and forth between the network. If you've got one person in a scene, all the connection that needs to happen is between your client, your desktop, and the server, which is called a catalyst, right? A catalyst node or a realm. They're also called realms Hey, what's
Hey,
up, Brandon? Hey, good to see you, buddy. Um, if you've got two people in there, then the communication that has to happen is, let's say Brandon and I are both in Decentraland. Brandon's actions have to be sent to the server and then to me, and my actions have to be sent to the server and then to Brandon. So you've just doubled the complexity. If you've got, let's double the number of people. Let's say there's four, then that means each of those people have communications every time they move, if they cough, if they chat or anything.
so it's
That has to be.
exponential.
Yes, thank you, Josh. It's not a linear increment of complexity. It is an exponential increment of complexity, which is like a hockey stick, right? It starts out like this, and then chew, it goes really, really. It gets super complicated really fast, and people are like, why can't we have multiplayer? And it's like, why is it laggy? That's why.
I was
Whatever.
actually watching some multiplayer like server setup stuff on YouTube last night. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of funny. You're talking about that.
Yeah, well, I just got done listening to a book about the metaverse. It's actually called Virtual Society by oh, I can never remember this guy's name. Uh, Naral? No, that's not his name. Herman Narula. I was close. Narula. Herman Narula. So virtual society, and he talks about like the technical complexities, but he's also talking about like the sociological complexity, the anthropological complexity of it all too. Um,
Really
okay,
cool.
so anyway, this is on my local computer. That's why there's not going to be any lag. I mean, the only limitations are what I've got in RAM in my computer and what I've got as dedicated RAM in my GPU and my graphics processor. All right, let's go back into Visual Studio Code, and I've only got like 15 more minutes, and I got to go hang out for Testing Tuesday. But what I wanted to do was I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit the greenhouse just to show you that it's somewhat easy, even if you're not a modeler or a creator, and you only know just a few things in Blender. You can sort of struggle your way through and combine some existing items and materials to create something new. So I'm going to come into Blender and I'm going to import a GLB. What GLB, may you ask? Well, it's the one that I just downloaded from the builder. So I'm going to go to FAFO, and nope, that's not the one. This one, Greenhouse GLB. I'm going to import it. Boom, there it is. Now, if I want to look at it and see what it looks like in Decentraland, we'll click on this one. It may look a little funny, and that's because if we come over here to our scene collection, this is our asset manager. We actually have two items up here in the upper right hand corner. There's greenhouse underscore 01 and greenhouse underscore 01 underscore collider. Notice that collider is all in lowercase, but green and house are in caps. This is called camel case. When you mush the words together and you separate them by capitalizing the letters. Camel case. Collider has to be spelled correctly, has to have an underscore before it, and it has to be all lowercase. That is how you make a collider in Decentraland. And it's just a separate object. Okay? So if I didn't want to be able to climb on top of the greenhouse and I want to be able to walk through it, I would delete this and then export it back out as a GLB. But I want to just modify my scene here a little bit. So I've got my object selected. I'm going to hit the tab key to go from object mode to edit mode. Oh, let me turn this on. Okay. And let's move this over here to the left. Let's get rid of those. Okay. So now we can see all of our polygons. Actually, we see all the triangles. Let's say I want to make something on the top. I'm just going to select some of the faces. So I'm going to click over here to deselect that. I'm going to select all of these faces up here on the top. I'm going to hit E to extrude. I'm just going to extrude it up. Okay, so there. I wanted a taller glass structure on the top. Okay, so something that we will obviously notice. So let's say I've edited it. That's how I want it. I'm going to tab back into object mode. I'm going to turn back on the collider. Over here in my asset manager, my scene collection, I'm going to hold down the shift key and I'm going to select both of these things. Now I could select them here in my user perspective, my modeling view, but I'm just showing you an alternate way to do this. So select both of these things. Now I'm going to export. So I go to File, Export, GLB, GLTF. All right. Now I'm going to click Remember Export Options, Settings. Okay. And what I want to include are selected objects. This is handy because you could select visible objects, and everything that the light touches, shall be exported as a GLB symbol. But no, not everything I see. I just want to actively select it. Y up. Okay. And under Mesh, make sure you click Apply All Modifiers. Just a good habit to get into. Material, textures, all this stuff is pretty much the same. If you're going to export something with animation, you may have to select any of these, but we don't have to worry about that right now. So I'm going to export it, but I want to export it to the right place. So I'm going to go back to 3D. I'm going to go to my FAFO, and I'm going to create a new directory. And I'm going to call this Models. And I'm going to put it in here. I'll show you why in just a moment. So I'm going to call this greenhouse underscore AJ, for me, odd job, and then export. All right. Should be ready to go. Go back to Visual Studio Code and notice here the path. Here's all the big long gobbledygook. That's the automatically generated file name, the unique identifier file name that DCL Builder creates. And then it's in a subdirectory called Greenhouse, and then it's called Greenhouse. I know that what I want to use is in a completely different place. So I'm just going to highlight this whole thing. Right. Still getting used to, the new keystrokes that I've got to use. So just going to delete all this. Now, I put it in a directory called Models, right? And that's inside this file structure. Inside FAFO, I needed to find the Models directory and then greenhouse underscore AJ GLB. Okay, there's my model. And you can see that it's modified. It's changed. That's good. So models / and then green capital HOUS E dot underscore AJ dot GLB. Okay. Up here in the File Explorer icon, you see a blue circle with the number 1 in there. That's one file that has been modified, and it's a good idea to save it. Now, I'm just going to come over here. Oh, let's reload my scene. While it's doing that, let's go back to here. Okay, still haven't saved it. So when it loads, it should load the old greenhouse with the static roof. Or, you know, whatever the roof that as it was. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to drag this off here and make it SM all. Gonna make it smaller here. Small. Okay. Then I'm going to go to Visual Studio Code and I'm going to make it like this so you can see the update as it happens. All right, here I am, Visual Studio Code, Control S. Now, oh, what happened? As soon as you update the code, it does a hot swap in the scene. So the greenhouse went away. That means the collider went away. That means my avatar being affected by physics in Decentraland, simple physics. It's going to drop to the ground. Now, here's the lovely extra glass roof that I put on the greenhouse. Why is my avatar able to walk through it? Because there's no collider there. I just extruded the model. I didn't extrude the collider. Okay, I need to go. So I need to draw this to a close, but I appreciate you joining us. Hope this, demonstrated a little bit about taking an idea, taking an existing model, modifying it, and bringing it into Decentraland so you can test it out. If you want to like get a first-person view of it, that's always helpful because you want to experience it at a human scale. So it's a good idea to do an actual walkthrough of it. Okay, we'll pick this up later. Thank you all very much for hanging out for FAFO. And to Josh and Brandon, I got to go do a testing Tuesday, and then I got some other work I got to do, so I probably won't be back, but I'll leave the channel open, and hope you guys have a good day.
Talk to you soon, AJ.
Bye.